In this video I want to show you my workstation that I built in 2016 with used parts and used up to a year ago when I replaced it with my AMD 7950X. But to be honest, this is more stable and it's in beautiful build. So let's dive into this build and show you around what I have built, and it's just amazing. Hi, my name is Victor Bart and welcome to Retro Machines. Cheers to PCBway, because it's their 10th anniversary. Go to the PCBway website, click on the top banner for the PCBway 10th anniversary tour to get coupons, try the lucky draw and much more cool things to do. This video is sponsored by my long-term sponsor PCBway. If you want your circuit board design realized and printed, you should check out PCBway. Starting prices as low as $5 for a 1 or 2 layer design. PCBway not only prints your PCB but also assembles your PCB. Check out the PCB assembly service. Place your order now, links in the description. This machine I built in 2016 because I got an E5 2690 V2 CPU which had a broken off capacitor, and I managed to fix it and find an absolute awesome motherboard for it. So that's why I built this machine on the E5 2600 V2 platform with DDR3, and I love this build. It's amazing. And I only made 2 videos about this machine, the build video and a video where I clean it. But to be honest, it has a dust filter, the fractal case, so that keeps the machine pretty clean, and it was easy to wash under the tap. And of course Noctua fans, and I love the brown sand color look of the Noctua fans. Many people hate it, but I think it's iconic. It shows you that you don't give a fuck how your system looks, but how it performs. That's the most important thing. DVD writer, why not? In the current cases you cannot fix them. And this is also a silent case with like dampening and a door. And one thing which I didn't like about this system, when you click on the Windows on your CD player and there's no disk in it, your drive goes open, so then the door goes open. And most times there was stuff around here, so the door was blocked. You heard, and then you had to remove stuff to save your drive. So USB 3.0 and USB 2.0 power button, the reset button, audio buttons. Here you can even remove some more stuff to have an air outtake, but to be honest, this system never run that hot, so that was not necessary. Fractal design just makes beautiful cases and pretty decent build quality. Not as good as a Cooler Master HC201, that's fully aluminium. Of course a play button on the side, because why not? And my 3DFX sticker. Window, of course, why not? And this one doesn't have any RGB or lights in it. But before we look inside, let's look at the rear. 850 watt Corsair power supply, really good unit. 10 GB network card, video card, COM port, audio, 2 gigabit ports, USB 2.0, USB 3.0, even a PS2 for your keyboard. So standard layout, but all the right connectors are here. Also in the rear, Noctua fan. So 2 in the front as intake, 1 at the rear as outtake, and the power supply only spins when it gets hot. So normally it never spins, I think, in his whole life. I really love how this machine looks. The cable management is done properly. Nice items, color coordinated, because you have the natural colors of the Noctua fans. You have a green motherboard, green DIMMs, black video card, black power supply. Only the rear of the CD drive is white, so that's a little bit ugly, but who cares. But the overall theme is pretty nice. Only there's an SSD here on an expansion card, which is red, so that didn't match it. I think that was the last upgrade I did in this machine, because When I first got it, I got one SSD and then here some hard drives for video editing. But later I switched the video editing over to my server and installed a 10 GB network adapter. So I removed the hard drives. That was better for this case because then it became silent, because the hard drives were like resonating some parts in the case, and that was a little bit annoying. But fully SSDs and with the good fans, it was pretty silent. Let's talk about the specs. Under here we have of course the CPU, the Intel E5 2690 V2. And I think it was one of the best CPUs for many years. It took a long time before there was like the consumer CPUs that matches the speed. I think this CPU was like 5 years like really the king of the CPUs. It has 10 cores running at 3 GHz with a turbo up to 3.6 GHz. So that is really a nice sweet spot of a CPU. You also have the 12 core, but then the base clocks go to 2.7 GHz. So this one was one of the highest clocked with the most cores. And the cooler that I used was from my previous build, because before this one I had like for a year a dual E5 2600 platform, and I think I got 2640 V2s, like 8 cores running at 2 GHz base clock, and yeah, it was good. It has a lot of cores and a lot of CPU power, but base clock was pretty slow. So for gaming that wasn't really a good machine, but for video editing it was really good. But this CPU was just a way better sweet spot. Right now you can pick up a CPU like this for like 20 euros. They are really dumping the 2600 V2 platform with DDR3. Go get something like this and have fun with it. To be honest, if I compare the performance of this machine to my current AMD, this machine is 5 times slower in CPU performance. So yeah, the current machines took a big step up. This machine has 8 memory banks for DDR3, and I filled them with 8 sticks of 8 GB. I think back in the days I paid 200 euros for that, for 64 GB of memory. That was pretty cheap. So right now you can get like 16 GB DIMMs for super cheap for this platform. So I was thinking to upgrade this machine, maybe then like go to 128 GB, but then I decided to just build a whole new system and just don't upgrade this anymore, because the video card that I have in here is a 9070 GTX, like the 4 GB version that only can use up to 3.5 GB. It's an Asus Strix card. It's a really nice card, but it was showing its age and it was needed to get something new. So what I was thinking also, okay, I can upgrade the video card in a machine like this, but probably I need a new power supply if I want to have like the newer standard with the newer power plug, or I can get like a last generation card. So I decided to not spend any more money for this system and put everything in the new system. And I'm really happy with the new system. It's amazing. Only this is more stable, because the new system sometimes the video card goes black and I don't know what it is. Maybe the video card is dying. Yeah, it's an RTX 4080 from Asus. That was like a 1500 euro item back 1 year ago. So I hope it doesn't die. But at least I have this machine as a backup. But I also have my laptop, the Dell XPS 15 from 2018. So probably this will be my backup for my daily driver, and this machine we can just use for other things. So later in this video I will tell you the ideas that I have for this system, because I think it would be fun to make more videos about this machine and try things out. So under here we have a 10 GB network adapter with GBIX with fiber optic to it. It was the cheapest option to get 10 GB network connection, and even my current machine I still need to get a GBIC that I can put that machine onto my 10 gig network. It's now like running at 2.5 GB, but it's running SSDs inside of the machine, so less network traffic, and this one was running the video editing over the network all the time. And under there's an expansion card with an M.2 SSD. I will show you that. And I bought the SSD on eBay for pretty cheap back in the days, but nowadays SSDs are much cheaper. And it was a Samsung server SSD, and not sure, yeah, it is just with a really difficult serial number and not like a product number like the consumer Samsungs. But this one was giving pretty decent performance, up to 1 GB per second instead of 600 megabyte per second with SATA SSDs. And I use this for my Steam library and some important files. So that was pretty stable, and it's just on a simple StarTech adapter from M.2 to PCIe. Super simple. I also bought this adapter used on tweakers.net for pretty cheap. So I will put it back for now, but I think I will remove this item and just run this on SATA SSDs, because in the build plans that I have, I don't really have data planned on this system, and the data that needs to be installed can be on SATA SSDs probably, because the performance of this is not so much more than standard SATA. Maybe with newer M.2 SSDs it will be faster. And Corsair 86850i power supply with all the cables removable, and I really love this unit, super stable. Also in my i7 3077K I have the same power supply, maybe one generation earlier, but super stable units and silent, and that's really nice of course. And for the rest, what do we have here? Not much going on. Yeah, you have like the hard drive racks here that you can, I think, install up to 8 hard drives. But who cares about hard drives anymore? Maybe in your server, yeah, you can use this case as your server. But I think if I will build a new server, I will see if I can go all SSD. But probably not in the next coming years, because I have some other priorities than like high-speed storage servers. And as you can see, I put some effort in the cable management, because why not? It's fun to do and it makes your system look really cool. It makes it also more reliable because all the cables are like tucked in and secured. And here on the rear you see my two SSDs. This is the boot drive, Samsung 850 Pro 256 GB, and it only stores Windows and some programs and not really data. Maybe the download, but nothing important. It was becoming a little bit too small, because I ran out of storage sometimes and then I had to clean up. That was a bit annoying. So in my new system I just put a 4 TB boot drive in it, where I also install my Steam games on it, and I never ran out of space yet, so that's fine. If I run out of space I will just put more SSDs in it. And my video editing is from my second 4 TB SSD, so also there I won't run out, so that's perfect setup for me. And the second SSD here in the system is a Samsung E5, not sure if it was an 850 or an 860, and this is 500 gigabyte, and that was just to add more storage into this system that's fast. And I only have two SATA 600 ports, so I use them for SSDs, and the SATA 300 port is only used for the DVD writer. And one item where I forgot to talk about is the motherboard, and this is a Supermicro X9 SRA, and this is a Workstation Crate Soccer 2011 motherboard. So it doesn't have VGA on board, and it has USB 3.0, and it's perfect for this system because single slot, 8 memory banks. This motherboard has two PCIe 16 slots and two PCIe 4x slots and a normal old style PCI slot. So that's a pretty decent configuration. You also have here an extra SAS controller with just a SATA connector, so you can install up to 8 hard drives and 2 SSDs in this system without problems. And of course we have a COM port, because why not? And I think it has a Firewire port, and there's not much else important going on this motherboard. Yeah, Realtek sound chip, standard stuff, but everything is super decent and super stable. This machine, I think it has never crashed on me. And also the memory is ECC, so this is really like a full Workstation crate hardware build. And the network card is from Solarflare, and that works also really well. And for me, this system is a perfect example of never change a winning team. It's running Windows 8.1, and for me that was super stable and I was really happy about it. So why change it up when you don't need to? The support is over from Windows 8.1, and some games didn't run at Windows 8.1 anymore, so that's why I upgraded my AMD to Windows 10 now. I didn't try Windows 11 yet, but someday I probably have to. But for now it's running Windows 10 and it is running well. Also, this machine is running software that you cannot get anymore, and that is Adobe Premiere 2017, because they took that version down. But when you had installed it, it was just keep working. And also on my laptop the old version is still there, but with my new system I run the latest version of Premiere, and that is stable. But the 2018 version and 2019 version were way worse than the 2017 version, which was one of the better versions, because back in the days I had the 2014 version, and then I upgraded to the 2015 version, and then they changed so much that it was just one big drama till I was up to 2017 version, which was stable. So yeah, sometimes don't update everything just out of, oh yeah, we have a new update. Sometimes just keep what you have if it's working. PCBway has an exciting new service, full color printing on PCBs. So now you can combine your PCB design with some beautiful art. For more information, follow the link in the description. Oh, and I just got Battlefield 5 from Steam sales. So yeah, let's try to install that and see if it runs. Okay, that will take a while. So let's talk about what I want to do with this system. When I was doing the little HP Core 2 Duo build with Linux, I found out that Steam was really easy to install. But that system was so slow that I couldn't run any game. But this system has a pretty decent video card. Yeah, it's an older model, but still runs like half of the Steam library probably fine on high specs. Probably not on 4K on this TV, but probably in full HD it runs many games. We have a lot of CPU power, we have a lot of memory. So what Linux version would you advise for me to try on this machine? I really love Linux Mint, and that was also what I installed on the little machine, but I'm also interested in try out Pop OS, or what other version would you recommend to put on like a high performance older machine like this? Because I want to try out some Linux gaming and maybe try out how like the video editing performance is like in 2024, because back in the days, like a few years ago, on the Linux video editing was just really annoying. Maybe if you had like standard full HD files it was okay-ish, but with 4K stuff it was already not going well. That was a reason for me why I just ran Windows and just Steam, because for the gaming and for the video editing. But Steam runs now pretty well under Linux and pretty easy, so I can run some games, and I don't have to play all the games under Linux, but just some good ones, just to have fun. And I really love Premiere for the video editing, so I will probably keep that, but I want to just explore it on this machine. And maybe I found like a really good version that I can say, okay, this is decent enough, and I can put it on my laptop and have like Linux on there and make some videos on there on the road. But probably I will keep that with Windows as a backup for my main system, so I can run the same software.
Handed the German government a final note. I have still...
Must have hard lesson features that destroy you.
Battlefield 5 is a bit older game and still runs pretty decent on this machine, because this machine is pretty powerful but a little bit out of date. Another thing that's nice to make on this machine is my streaming PC with OBS. I think that also runs pretty well on the Linux, so yeah, let me know which Linux do you want to see on this machine, so I can install it, play some games, make the live streaming setup with it. And if you like to support me, you can support me monthly on Patreon, get access to my awesome Discord server, or use my Amazon affiliated links. And thanks for watching.